Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really excited to show you guys the planting of this Prism 25TM. You can plant this as a planted aquarium, macroalgae tank if you wanted to, a terrarium or a paludarium. It's totally up to you. That's why we call this a tank and not really a planted tank or a planted aquarium. What it comes with is this flush lid. It has a mitered edge, and the glass panels itself also has a mitered edge, so that when you sit it flush, it will look like a nice glass display case. And the cool thing about this is that all four corners have this silicone padding so that it's not glass on glass contact, and I can easily remove it. And what I have here are two different types of tissue culture plants. They're miniature plants. This is HC Cuba. It's one of the smallest aquarium foreground plants that you can get. And then I also have the tissue culture version of Hydrocotyle Tripartita Mini, which is also a miniature plant, hence the name. These smaller plants are good to make a small tank like this look bigger visually. It's easier to plant in wet soil than dry soil, at least in my opinion. The soil is moist. I'm going to begin planting, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to plant the Tripartita, the background plant, into where the soil starts to slope really crazy. And what this will help me do is prevent all the soil from the back to start rolling onto the front, because it's soil in the back and sand in the front. And I still want that clear distinction. And these serve to plug up the soil so that I'm free to plant everywhere else. I'm just taking little half-inch chunks of plant and planting them into it. Now, if you're having trouble planting smaller rooted plants like this Hydrocotyle Tripartita or the HC Cuba that I have next, it's actually easier if the soil is wet. And what I'll do after I have it planted in is I'll move the soil from around it, or the substrate around it, and kind of bury it a little, and it will stay put. The super cool thing about planting terrarium style is that it's, at least in my head, it's basically a dry start. I'm never gonna flood this tank, and it's just gonna keep growing in a humid environment. Super low maintenance. All you need to do is mist it every once in a while, keep the lid on, and wipe the glass panels. That's really it. Now, a little side note is that a good majority of aquatic plants can be grown this way, which is why the dry start method is so popular. I'm on my second cup now of tissue culture. And what I'm gonna do is manually remove all the gel first, as much as possible, so I can keep my water pretty clean, and then dip it into some water. You always want to use cold water. Cold tap water is okay. That's what I'm using here. Nothing too special. All you need to do is remember to wash off as much of the gel as possible, only because the gel is very nutrient heavy, and you don't want to, in a normal aquarium setting, you don't want to have any algae problems caused by this gel. So as I'm finishing up plugging up the corners and the kind of intersections where the soil meets the sand, I envision this hydrocotyle to kind of hug the rock hardscape all around and then droop forward, and it will just add to the effect. It will basically give this aquascape a height that I'm looking for. Right now I still think it's a little short based on just the hardscape alone, but once it grows out probably to around here, will be good. This area right here is covered up now. This area is covered up. This area is covered up. This area and that area is covered up. Now I can fully plant the background with full confidence. Now on to my third cup of Tripartita Mini. So I'm just going in, planting slightly bigger clumps to fill up a large area. Now when I say bigger chunks, I don't mean like big 3 by 3 inch chunks. I'm just using like a little, around like an inch or so clump. Just makes it easier for me to fill up a large area like this. Cup number 4. You should take your time when planting plants. Don't overstuff it. Also, don't speed through it. You want to make sure the plants are planted root down, root first. And for you eagle-eyed viewers, I am using our new tweezers. Super nice, satin gray, clean finish, ultra durable. Even better than I would say exposed stainless steel like most aquascaping tools are. I would consider this a nice upgrade. Very easy to use, very lightweight. Grab my final cup maybe. Seems like it. Or maybe I'll just add one more cup just for funsies. The smaller the plant, the more cups you will need to fill up certain areas of your tank. So just be aware of that. Okay, final cup, I promise. I just like to plant a lot. I would say this much plant mass in the beginning is okay, at least for the background. But I'm just going in with a little bit of extra credit. Adding a little bit more, just my own personal preference. I'm also using this extra cup to fill in the gaps between the plants I already have. There's 2 other sizes to the Prism. This is the medium size, and they're all in this form factor, this tall rectangle. So, have the Tripartita, Hydrocotyle Tripartita Mini planted, keeping my workstation clean. I feel like a chef in his kitchen right now. And now what I'm gonna do is go towards the front. So now let's start with the HC Mini, or the HC Cuba, sorry. And what I like to do is when I buy tissue cultures or when I get tissue culture plants myself, I like to pick out some fuller ones, but make sure the gel is still clear. That means the plant is fresh and new. The gel is fresh and new. The plants also have enough nutrients from the gel itself. And I like to plant the fluffiest one first, the fuller one first, which would be this one out of the 4. Not to say that they're not all fluffy, but this one just seems to be a little bit more established than the rest. Same thing, just gonna remove as much gel as possible. With the shorter rooted plants, like HC Cuba or UG, Utricularia graminifolia, it's harder to clean off the gel because the root system is so small. This is literally the root system. So I'm going to use some new water on this side. That's why I have 2 cups. I have 2 plants, 2 cups. You can use the same cup if you want to, but it's just cleaner this way. I'm going to remove this cup. And I'm just going to slowly just massage the gel out. You may or may not get everything, but as long as it's relatively clean and clear gel, you're good. And if you're running it through tap water or your faucet, just make sure your faucet's on low so that you don't wash away your plants. And what I'm doing is I'm taking out little 1/2-inch clumps, clumping it together by the roots, and then going for it. And you want smaller clumps, easier for smaller plants. It might take you longer, but it's easier to plant this way. You want to be careful not to damage the roots of the plant or the plant in general. And as you can see, I'm wiggling the sand a little bit just to give myself some room and space to plant the plant. So there you have it, fully planted with plants already semi-trailing towards the corner, so they all go towards the logoed corner. And I really love these kind of directional scapes, if you would like to call it that. It just gives it a really dramatic look for such a small sized tank. Beautiful. Bam. Here you go. One planted terrarium style Prism 25TM. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment below. Let me know if I did this wrong or did this right. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.